yeah, they're getting kind of a blow by blow window into business building and entrepreneurship from just getting to partner with their dad. How do you think that might impact their future?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just remember me as a kid. My
Yeah.
my dad was a police officer. He owned businesses, and he was on the Oprah Winfrey Show because he had a case that went national.
Oh, wow.
And he got called by Oprah, and I remember coming home and seeing my dad on the TV, and I just assumed that I was going to be on Oprah one day. Like that's what.
That's amazing.
And so I think it's like me and my wife are athletes.
Hmm.
And it's a given where, you're going to do gymnastics until you're 10 years old,
Hmm.
and you're going to do something creative. And I don't think until they see, I don't think they'll really appreciate it maybe until they get older and they see that there's another way. I'm sure your kids probably look at the world as they've gotten older and say, wow, like not every other family has a business or
Yep.
thinks this recognizes Sabbaths or even goes to church. So
Mhm.
I think time will tell, Jeremy. But I can tell my daughters they like the creative aspect. They just wish I would start a skincare line opposed to a nutrition bar line.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I have a daughter who would love if we started a skincare line. That's really interesting that, seeing your dad on the Oprah Winfrey show, what like it changes what you think is possible. So I'm in the middle of writing a chapter of my book on Abraham. And literally the next section I have to write is on what I call patriarchal fame, which is that God did something really strange with Abraham. He promised to make him famous. And
Mm,
most Christians actually think that any desire for fame is always vanity. And there's even a popular worship song out now that says, I want to die and be forgotten. And I think that there's a healthy
yeah.
yeah, there's a healthy like, principle behind what I think they're saying there. But I think the assumption is that it's always selfish to want to be famous. And there was actually an ancient kind of view towards this that I think is almost entirely forgotten, which really does have to
Wow.
do with the idea that when you are leading a family, the family, because it's a strong, large structure, the families that particularly the patriarch of the family, his ability to sort of become well networked and to become well known and to have a large and positive reputation, whether it's in the village, like you can look at these in circles. You can say like in the family, of course, in the extended family, in the community, but it's really for the sake of his family that you would want to expand that potentially. There's a strong argument for that, and I think that that's why God blessed Abraham in this way. And I'm going to walk through what the story says about that. And the Proverbs also speak to this about the glory of a son is his father, and I think it's talking about this specific principle. And I've never heard anybody articulate the way you did. Like just seeing my dad on Oprah, like did something to my vision of the world, and I think that that's a principle most people don't understand.
Yeah. I will go in and see my dad be a police officer, play football, have restaurants. Then they tell me I'm creative. It's like, oh, I didn't. It's like me being tall. I always use this. People come up and they say, Justin, you're tall. Well, I forget I'm tall because I'm tall.
Yep.
And I'll even go back to what you're saying about fame. It's unbelievable. Well, it's incredible to me that a chapter before God comes up to Abraham and he says, I'm gonna I'm gonna bless you and I'm gonna make your name great. Where
Yes.
the Tower of Babel, and they said, we're gonna make a tower and we're gonna make our names great. But
Yes.
it was God that was giving Abraham a gift to be
Mm.
famous, glorify him. And I don't think in church and school we talk about, saving yourself for marriage or not stealing or loving people, but we never talk about the dangers of fame and what fame really is, where fame is a gift from God
Mm.
to glorify him. And the Lord will never say, well done, my good and famous servant. He'll say, well done, my faithful servant. And it's something that a lot of people desire, but I haven't heard people talk like, what is this desire to be famous for?
Mm.
And if the Lord blesses you to be famous or to have any circle of influence, what is it for? What do we do with it? And I'm interested to hear that chapter that you're